the volume.
Turn up the volume.
You've arrived at the destination for all things Kentucky. This is the Bleed Blue Network Podcast.
Whoa, that is way too close. My goodness, nobody needs to see me that close. What's going on, Big Blue Nation? Thank you for jumping on and joining another episode of Bleed Blue Nightly. I am Paul with Jaden. Glad you're joining us. Busy Monday. I mean, Jaden, with
something happened today?
Huh?
Something happened today?
I mean, dude, it's just, you got people saying they joined Bleed Blue Network that hasn't. I mean, it's a weird obsession. I'm not gonna lie. I don't even remember who half these people are until they just like say something random, but it's just funny to me. I could use coffee. So if someone's volunteering to work for us, at least bring coffee, but I don't know who they are because they have no face and no name. So it's really hard to pay attention, man. I don't know.
I typically look for the face and name first before I start reading.
Right, that is trouble. Like the face and the name probably is really good because the legal document and the operating agreement that we have, it's a little hard to put a screen name on. It's a little weird. Don't think that would work in a court of law, but you never know. I mean, it is 2024. You could, I don't know. It could be weird. Anyway,
3 or 4, I have no idea what you're talking about. So
I'm just laughing.
I have no idea what he's talking about.
I
don't know. Me and Paul were at a dinner like 2 hours ago. Like, it certainly wasn't us posting it.
No, like someone, Deputy 304 said, you've been following us for a while. So, no, listen, there's some idiot making fake accounts for us. Whatever. All you're doing is like nothing to us. I mean, it's just making you look silly, and your account's going to end up getting banned anyway for impersonating. So whatever. Unless it's got a check mark on it, it's not us.
For about a second and a half there, I thought that Casey had some crazy source. I was about to text him.
Okay, come on. You would have known. I would have put that out in the group chat. Like, hey.
Well, I know. That's why I was so confused when I saw it. That's why it took me about a second to realize. But I was on my way to text Casey. Like, good job, man. Like, dang, good for you. Yeah. Hey, maybe it'll happen anyway, though.
It's just weird behavior, man. You can tell people that have no like real job or kids or anything like that. They just have time on their hand and think it's funny to do silly stuff online. I mean, it is what it is. Anyway, big week. It is a big week. We don't need to talk about social media trolls. It's just kind of hilarious, to be honest with you. It was a big weekend. Big week so far. Kicking off the week here. First, let's talk basketball. We have to talk basketball first. As much probably want to talk football because there's a lot going on with football right now. Kentucky beats Louisville. It was kind of an odd game. In the aspect that it never really. It was annoying the aspect that you never felt like Kentucky was out of control, but it felt like Kentucky should be up bigger. Right? Like they shot well, they defended well, they rebounded well, and somehow you look up and it's a 4-point game, a 7-point game. But I don't know. Did Louisville lead once in that game at all? I don't think so.
I'm not certain if they led. Somebody did some kind of they went and did the numbers on it. Louisville coming out of timeouts or breaks or something where we were up 8 points. They were like 49-6 runs coming out of the timeouts. Like every time we would get it to like 8. They would go on a run as soon as they came out of the timeout. I'm going to be honest, Pat Kelsey put himself on a clinic. He was in his bag. Pope was as well, but I thought both coaches were awesome on Saturday.
It was
an awesome offensive game to watch.
It all kind of culminated in that little scuffle where you got Mark Pope, all 6'11" of them with his arm around Kelsey. Sorry, not Casey. Kelsey. I think that was a lot of nothingness. I mean, obviously Garrison was trying to get the ball. He accidentally hit the guy, backed off immediately when he saw it. Didn't look intentional. Goes back around and everything, right? Like, it's
my main takeaway was the Louisville guy was laying out of bounds. Like during the, he was just laying out of bounds, and nobody. I've seen. I think Ballard pointed that out. But before all of that happened, he's just laying out of bounds with the ball.
Yeah,
and if they just call that, then none of that ever happens.
It was weird. The game was just weird. But look, Kentucky wins. Some people weren't happy about it. I don't know. Like the bigger thing that came out of the game, obviously we beat Louisville, but the bigger the bigger thing that came out of the game was the standing up, the cop coming down, right? Like all the fan bases tore up. The doctored photo with the L's down with Pope. Like I almost look. Here's the thing: it's Twitter. Like people are going to screw with you. Obviously, like I mean, it happens to everyone, right? I mean, if you're not going to do it, it is what it is. You know, like people are going to say what they want to say. The account, I mean, it's really funny. It is always, you never see an account with their face and name doing it because people are actually scared to do that out in front. It just shows what kind of people those are. But like, you got to at least just understand it's going to happen. Like,
I mean,
I didn't think that the doctored photo was as big of a deal.
I never figured out what the problem with it was.
I don't either. Like I like it wasn't like he said I took the photo. I mean, I thought it was kind of clever. You could tell it was doctored, right? I mean,
it's not even like he put the L's down. Like, okay, people are saying like he doesn't put the L's down and stuff. There are pictures of him doing it. Like he does put the L's down. Like
our fan base is the most unique fan. Listen, our fan base is so unique. You've got just wild people in this fan base. It's actually kind of funny. Like you can be right 99.9% of the time, and they'll find a 1.1% to try and crucify you with. Someone will get clever, and then someone out of the blue will get mad at the clever. Like it's just it never change. Like never change Big Blue Twitter. Like never change.
If you see something's posted and it's like it I don't know. You note it for some reason. I would either go through the account and see what else they're posting, see if it's an account that does a lot of fake stuff, or just forget it happened if you don't know who it is. Like, I
think the safest thing to say is if it doesn't come from an account with anybody that's associated or anything, it's probably like it is what it is. Not everybody's like that. I mean, look, some people don't want to have their face out there because of jobs and stuff, and that's perfectly fine. But we're doctoring a photo. It is what it is. Like, it would be different if someone like posted it and said, I took this photo, right? And tried to claim. I think that there would be a beef. But anyway, I think that's less of a deal of the standing aspect in Rupp. You've had this whole conversation for like 2 days in the fan base about atmosphere at Rupp Arena with Louisville, the Louisville game. It's been a weird reaction to the fact that we're like, I feel like 10-1's being overshadowed by some of these other things that have kind of transpired since Saturday.
I mean, yeah, I think it's just because we took our night of talking trash to Louisville fans, and now it's like, people are trying to harp on things, and we needed something to do. Yesterday, to be honest, the standing thing, like, I honestly, and it was not the best Rupp crowd I've ever been to. Like, not a lot of people stood for a lot of the game, like until something happened. And that's what Rupp is. Rupp's a reactionary crowd, not a proactive crowd. But there are a couple, and like, yeah, if the cops ever tell you they're going to arrest you for standing, I don't believe that's legal for them to do. I'm going to be honest.
I don't think so, but I'm not going to get into legality. I don't know. I don't think it is. It's just like, at the end of the day, like, we're all Kentucky fans. Like, just like,
stand
just
up.
Be happy we won. You're playing the rival. We can stand for a game. We're not playing. If we're playing Wagner, okay. We're playing Wright State, okay. I get it. I mean, I would probably be happier if it was more raucous, but it's okay. Okay, but it's Louisville. Come on, like, give it a little bit. Yeah, just acknowledge. Like, if you're gonna go to a big game, and here's the thing, Kentucky's got loaded big games all through January, right? If you're gonna go to a big game, understand you're probably gonna stand up, right? Like, just be okay with it, or don't go.
Yeah, I don't
like, and when someone says, "Well, don't tell me what to do with my tickets," I mean, guys, like, you could probably make 3-4x your tickets right now. Like, it's not like
if you're gonna say don't tell you what to do with your tickets, then don't tell the person in front of you what to do with their tickets.
Yeah, like, just be happy. Like, just be happy. It was
really
sports.
fun.
It's supposed to be an enjoyable escape from real life.
It was fun. Students were lined up over 2 hours before the game. They were all the way past Rupp down Lex Live. Like, it was full hour and a half before the game in the student section. Like, it was, and like the pregame and everything, like everything was really good. And then when the big moments happened, obviously it was really exciting.
I mean, you could tell I think some people may have been a little bit nervous through the game. I never really got nervous. Did you?
No, because I thought they would cool down.
They
And
didn't,
they
though.
never
I
really
mean,
did.
what did we talk about? We said Chucky was a guy that could go off and hurt us, right?
That dude's
And
awesome.
we didn't think that Lamont was going to play. And then all Lamont does is come back and go 10 for 10 for the field for 33 points. Like, what?
Just go ahead and have
If you got
the
to
best
talk about
game,
a storyline,
best game of the
no one
season
saw that coming.
anyone will have.
Do
Yeah,
what?
it was ridiculous. I mean, we were like kind of assuming he wouldn't play based on. I wrote an article based on Pope's press conference, and he was like, "Yeah, I don't really know if Lamar's going to go. Like, I don't. It doesn't seem likely. He hasn't practiced, and then he just has the game of a lifetime against your arch rival. It was a really good. I mean, obviously, it was a really good game. Like he was fantastic on defense as well. Even though Chucky hit some shots, like. Lamont he's my favorite player. I'm gonna be honest, and I think he might be the best player. If not, then definitely the most important because that man he controls the offense so well. It looks more fluid. Everything looks connected when he runs the offense as opposed to step 1, step 2, step 3. If that makes sense. And then obviously ball pressure is the number one thing I look for from a defender. And nobody does ball pressure like Lamont Butler. So. He put on a show on Saturday, and yeah, it was awesome. I mean, the assist at the beginning to Ortega for him to dunk on Waterman. That was when Rupp was Rupp when we started dunking on people at the beginning of the game.
It was yeah. If Illinois' D wasn't so god awful, I think we could have moved up. I mean, Illinois also won with Tennessee also won with Chaz Lanier out too. So, I mean that I think was. I don't think you're going to get punished for a win in this season just because of the way. I mean, you say that, and then Kentucky got punished because they beat Duke, but it's fixed this week. I don't think it would have mattered. I think Duke. I think it was probably going to stay the same. What do you think?
I mean, last week. Everyone got all riled up about Duke going ahead of them, and we beat Louisville, who Duke also beat, and then we jumped them. Like it's so fickle, and the margins are so small on the AP votes, and there's also zero. Like it's not even the bracket. Like the bracket doesn't even look at AP poll. So like it, I never care about the AP poll. If we're 4, 5, 3, 1, 15, like I don't care. If I'm being
all
honest.
that matters is at the end of the season. But look, Tennessee squeaking by a little bit. I'm not as sold on Tennessee as I am on Auburn. I think Auburn's better than Tennessee. I think Tennessee's got some offensive deficiencies. They've kind of gotten pushed even by Miami, right? I think that they've had they're a product of having a fairly lighter schedule. Mm-hmm. But look, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, here's the thing, too. Everything's going to matter in the SEC about how schedule falls, right? Duke is not ranked above us this week, I don't think.
I was saying like last week, everybody got worked up.
Last week, yeah. Last week, everybody did, but they're ranked below us now. We went to 4 this week. We were at 5, and we jumped up to 4. Kentucky doesn't play for a week. I think that's probably good.
It's probably why Lamont played.
Stuff. Yeah, I mean, look, Lamont probably wishes he was out there playing, but I think, from a health perspective and making sure that ankle recovers well, I think it's probably good that he's not playing.
Oh yeah. I mean, we need the week for sure. And then after the week, you get 10 days after Ohio State before we play again. So they have plenty of time to get everybody healed up and ready to go and locked back in before they really get going. I'm looking at Tennessee's schedule.
I know. I feel like you have like a stat rant about the Kentucky game.
About which Kentucky game?
Or the Kentucky Louisville game. I feel like you probably have some stat rants you want to go on.
I'm going to be honest. It's like, I wish I had like crazy takeaways from the game, but like we played really good on offense, so on defense. Louisville hit shots that they didn't hit for a long time. So like they haven't hit shots like that all year, that many threes. Like it happens. Sometimes teams are going to hit shots, and it's a rivalry game, and you could tell how badly the Louisville players wanted it and how badly Pat Kelsey wanted it. Plus, Pat Adams was on the floor, which means anything that you thought about anything is thrown out the window because
Pat Adams was so bad.
Phantom fouls and
so bad.
And some decisions happen. But I mean,
hey, I don't how are people like that still employed as an official? Like, it was so bad.
Referees have the best union in the world. You can't fire referees. It's really a fascinating thing. I don't know how they've done it, but
yeah, it is finals week. I think JC Wilder, you misunderstood what we were saying. We weren't mad that we weren't playing this week. We were actually happy that we think that the guys probably needed a good little week off I don't think
recover
and practice.
I don't think by rule they could play this week, even if they wanted to, because it's finals week.
Yeah, I agree. No, I think let me say it better. I think it comes at a good time because we've had a lot of travel recently. We've had a lot of kind of big games sandwiched, right? You have Clemson, Louisville, Gonzaga, right? Like that's where I feel like it's a good time, especially right before conference in that schedule that's about to get brutal. I think this is a really good time because I think there is probably a little bit of hanged upness, probably. But also, I think it's good for the team to gel and work on some stuff that they need to work on.
What do you think about the center position? Because I thought it was good that Pope stayed with BG for a long time. Because I thought he played really well. And I think he's been better for a couple games now, to be honest.
I mean, I think he's probably deserved more playing time. He's been very consistent, especially on the defensive rebounding side. He rebounds a little bit more angry than Amari does. Look, I think there's a really good player in Amari. I think there's a really good player in Amari. I do. He just needs to – I think maybe he's pressing a little bit too much. The thing about the team that kind of baffles me is the rebounding. I don't like how the ball's I don't like how the ball is loose all the time, it feels like.
Yeah.
Grab the rebound. Right, I don't understand why that seems to be a problem. Hopefully, they
do
work
fumble
on that.
A lot of rebounds. It feels like
literally just throw it off the backboard, have guys practice and catch it. Like hit them with rubber baseball bats or whatever. Right, not baseball. What are those things that like football blocking things? Just like work on catching the ball, guys. Like if we do that, we're gonna be fine. Like that's literally this is the only gripe about this team that I have is catch the ball and be fine. Can Ainsley be more consistent? Like Ainsley. I think there's a couple guys going through a little bit of a slump right now. I think there's probably some guys pressing a little bit. I like that the week's there, right? Like you also now have a lot of people talking about national championship, Final Four. So I think there's maybe a little bit of like, I don't necessarily know if they're feeling it, but I think it's more along of trying to live up to that. And they just need to relax and play, right? And I think you'll see that. I think they'll settle in more as the season goes on. Like I'm not worried that we don't have a good team.
They're going to lose right now, in my opinion.
Look, they're going to lose. We're not going to go. Listen, there's no way you go through that conference schedule. If Kentucky goes through that conference schedule 14-2, we're going to win the national championship. All right.
Oh yeah.
14-4. We go 14-4. Yeah, we go 14-4 in the SEC. I'm picking them in every bracket, every single one.
Yeah, probably. I'll probably pick them anyway, just because they're actually good.
They are good.
If my team is actually good, you're getting picked.
But at the end of the day, it's going to be a brutal gauntlet in the SEC, and you never know what's going to happen because of how brutal that schedule is.
It's definitely going to be. The good thing is the fans are going to get their money's worth. Like you get to Rep Arena because there's going to be a lot of big games and a lot of big atmospheres. I feel like this is the longest I haven't thought about football in about a week and a half. Is he alive?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just laughing. Okay. Twitter's just kind of stupid today. It's kind of funny. Anyway, all right. You want to talk football now?
Yeah, we can talk about whatever you want.
All right. So big football recruiting day.
We haven't talked about any of the football recruits the whole weekend.
We haven't yet. All right. So we've got two commitments. Joshua Braun from Arkansas, 6'6", 320 something guard, committed, big guard, allowed 3 career sacks, I think something like that, and over 1,300 dropbacks. Phenomenal pass blocker. Don't listen to the Arkansas fans. They're not trustworthy anyway. Think that this is a really good pickup. Alex Warschlager, also a right tackle from Bowling Green State, has committed. He is a league graded tackle, 6'7", 6'8". It's all running together right now in terms of how big some of these guys are.
He's a massive right tackle. He can move people in the run game. He's a run guy. But his pressure numbers for pass blocking are good. He only allowed 15 pressures last season, like 2 or 3 sacks or something like that. Only called for 2 accepted penalties the whole season. So Wolfschlager is a stud at right tackle, especially in the run game. Like him and Farmer on the right side could do some things. Or if they were to, move Farmer to the left, like they can kind of have a run blocker and a pass blocker on both sides. But it's a little bit of technique stuff with his pass block. He doesn't get all the way low all the time just because he's so dang big. But it doesn't result in a ton of pressures, so it works for him. And he played against Penn State, who has Abdul Carter, who's going to be probably a top 5 pick, the number 1 edge off the board. And then A&M has 2 first round edges. They played both of them, and he only allowed 2 pressures total in the whole game and about 130 snaps against those 2 teams. So he is definitely a upgrade at right tackle. Him and Braun are my 2 favorite players so far that we've contacted, and getting both of them in the same day was awesome because I think both of those dudes are studs.
It is. Also, we broke the story early this morning that Malik Murphy, the Duke transfer quarterback, top 3 in the portal, is visiting Kentucky. He's on campus right now. He'll be visiting, I think, also tomorrow. 247, I believe, has him as the number 3 transfer portal QB right now. He's 6'5", 225 pounds. He's a big boy, has an absolute rocket of an arm, cannon. In hindsight, when you start thinking of all the players that we've talked about, right, and all the players that we've kind of know that Kentucky's been looking at, and then you look at the offensive line, and one of the things we talked about last week on the show was how much the offensive line is a very highly rated PFF, low pressure type guys, right? Like 2, 3, 4%, not a lot of sacks, very good in pass protection. We've heard of guys that are being mentioned at the quarterback position. And I mean, it makes sense. We're just like, oh man, I mean, like, well, wait, do we want to run? But you get the sense, we want to run the rock, right? But now you bring Murphy in, who's probably the number 1 drop back passer in the portal. He's not a dual threat guy. He can he can get you a first down. He can extend the play.
I have no idea why he doesn't run. He had 2 scrambles. He had 2 scrambles the entire season. I mean, why doesn't he run? He can. He moves fine. He just doesn't run past the line of scrimmage.
He's not slow, but he's not a guy that's going to beat you with his legs either, right? Like he's a guy that can keep a play going.
His movement kind of reminds me of like a Burrow. Like he doesn't want to, but Burrow does, and like when he does, it's effective.
Very big though. He's very hard to bring down in the pocket. Yeah, he's very hard to bring down in the pocket too, because the pocket can collapse and he can see basically still, right? Like that's the other thing. He's got an absolute cannon. He threw for almost 3,000 yards last year at Duke. 26 or 29, 26, right? Touchdown passes.
Yeah, one of the 2.
Oh, I got him pulled up right here. 26, 12 picks. Don't necessarily love that, but I didn't watch Duke, so I don't know if those were bad reads. They were bad throws. I don't know. I don't know. I'm less worried about that. The guys that Kentucky's got going around him, and now we kind of can go to step 2 right now. We've talked about Kendrick Law from Alabama visiting Kentucky. You have Horatio Fields, who visited Kentucky from Wake Forest. Ooh, I got the wrong banner up. There we go. Sorry about that. I didn't even notice the banner. You got Horatio Fields, who is a 6'3" guy from Wake Forest, big receiver. JJ Hester, another big receiver, transfer guy who's been a little bit banged up, but another big guy, high 4-star recruit that's maybe a different situation, a lot of talent, right? Maybe he does that. Obviously, Kendrick Law is a big name coming from Alabama. You've also got Macklin, you've got Gilmore, you got Ferrier, some guys with talent. I really like Macklin. Everyone on our team is very high with Macklin. You see all that and the line, and you go, Murphy makes a lot of sense because Kentucky's got a pretty good running back in Wilcox. Patterson, I think there's another good running back in him. And the
starter's not on the team.
And they might go get another guy, right? We know Ahmad Hardy they're talking to. I think there's probably one or two other guys that they're talking that maybe we're interested in.
Fluff.
Yeah. So I think there's other guys outside of him that are better that they're talking to. I'm not saying he might not be an amazing player, but I'm just saying as of where things stand right now. Kentucky could low-key transform its offense. And if you think about this, right, 4 new offensive linemen, starting quarterback, 2 wide receivers, and potentially a running back. I don't know. I think the running back's I don't think it's going to matter who starts the game with the quarterback. Because I don't, if it's Hardy, if it's Wilcox, if it's another guy that we bring in, I don't think that's going to matter. I think their carries are going to be spread pretty even. So I think that's less. So let's just say that's 7 offensive starters. You've completely flipped your offensive room and improved at every position.
Yeah, I would say that's true. I mean, we're still waiting for left tackle name to kind of emerge. I mean, as far as center, I mean, we have a WKU kid on campus. Like that feels.
Wibberley, we crystal balled Wibberley for Kentucky. I think a lot of people also feel like, I mean, that's I
when
mean,
is the WKU kid going to Kentucky and not committing? Like, come on.
I don't necessarily listen. I don't necessarily think that's rocket science. I think a lot of people expect Wibberley to come here.
And I don't know a thing. I promise I don't. But
Hansen, I think, is the guy they really like. Hansen's a guy with like 35 SEC games, another really high pass protector, doesn't give up a lot of sacks, can play right guard or left tackle, could also play guard in a pinch. Obviously, you've got Wood, who's there. I think he's a little young, but he was like on the all freshman team. But it gives you depth, right? So let's say Wuschlager gets hurt, and now you could put Wood at left. You could put You could move Hansen to right. He gives you flexibility in case there's an injury, which you're gonna have someone probably on the offensive line miss a game or something like that. Hopefully that's all that happens. If it does, obviously we don't want anybody to get hurt. But I think Hansen is the guy they would like to lock down this week, because if that happens, I think their offensive line by next weekend is done. Unless there's another guy, like there's a New Mexico State guy that we reported is coming for a visit. I think he's someone maybe from a depth development perspective.
That looks like a rotational guard kind of situation.
Yeah. I think he played tackle at New Mexico State. I think if he comes here, he looks more like a guard, right? He's 6'4", he's not as big, but he's very athletic. That is the thing that I did read about him. I don't know how good he is, but I think that's a developmental piece, a depth piece. He's a guy who's played football, right? So it's not like you have a freshman. I think that maybe is it. When I say your offensive line is done, I'm talking about the guys starting. Right. Yeah. I think there's there's a couple other guys that are lined up to potentially visit that could fill that void. But I think Hansen's the priority, which I like.
Yeah. If they're able to land all 4 of those linemen with an X receiver, like a Dane replacement, maybe one more fast receiver just to fill out the room.
If they land those 4 guys, they went 4 for 5 on their targets. The only one they lost would have been Isaiah World, and he got funny money. So if that's the case, they targeted 5 guys. It was Isaiah World was their top left tackle, and he got
everybody in the country's top left tackle.
2.5x what he would have gotten here. If that's the case, they would have gotten 4 of their top, like they would have gotten 2 through 5, and I can live with that. I really like World. Listen, Isaiah World's a guy that could be a top 10 pick at left tackle. Hansen's a guy who could still be a late first round to third round type guy too. Like I'm not saying he's going to be a first round guy, but he could. Right? He's got that in him. Whether he is or not is a different story, but that's where I think that's there. I think there's another guy or two that, if we go past him, could be as good, maybe better. But there's more upside downside, right? Like different from that. I think Hanson's the consistent holds the ship down.
It looks like it's being built for a Murphy kind of quarterback. It looks like it's being built for a pocket passer.
It really does.
Now,
I mean,
we know I have my concerns about Murphy, and we said we didn't want to get too negative. But
so let me ask this question:
if they're going to make it
before we get into this, the fact that he's I think he's a true sophomore, right?
Who?
Murphy. He was a true sophomore this year. He's going to be a junior next year.
Well, he was. True sophomore this year.
I think he was a true sophomore. Let me see.
Yeah, either true or redshirt.
He's a true sophomore. He's a true sophomore this year. Now he's going to be a junior. All right. Understanding the leap that usually a lot of quarterbacks make from sophomore to junior year, does that make you feel more confident that if he takes that jump and that jump is at Kentucky, does that make you feel better? Because that now you're looking at 3,500 yards, 35 touchdowns. I can live with 12 picks and 35 touchdowns. Obviously, you'd rather it be like 35-7, 35-8. But do you feel more confident knowing that there's that extra level of improvement now that he's got, 14 starts under his belt?
Yes, I would expect improvement.
And he improved this year, by the way. Like, his stats improved as the year went on, and they didn't regress, which is also something I like.
I get concerned about him and Bush being like on the same page. Bush loves a mobile quarter, and maybe this is Murphy's gonna break out of his shell and do things differently than he did at Texas and Duke. But like we saw, they tried to force Gavin into it. Like they want to run. The Arkansas quarterback was his quarterback last year. He wants to run a bunch of quarterback runs. They call QB draw all the time. Like they want to run all of that kind of stuff, and Murphy doesn't do that. They also, with this NFL stuff, deep ends, crossers, play action, getting mobile. These are things that Murphy isn't very good at, getting out of the pocket. He loses his accuracy when he gets out of the pocket. He struggles with intermediate throws. He's a deep throw guy. He might be the best deep thrower in the country, which is why you go get a bunch of guys that can go get the ball down the field. Macklin, K-Law potentially with the speed, Fields, whatever X receiver,
But that's also something that you can improve on year over year.
You can,
right? It's not like he doesn't have it in him. It's not like he doesn't have it in him, though.
Yeah, I'm just saying this would be my concern. If it doesn't get better, if it was this year, Malik Murphy in Bush Hamden's offense, I would not even with the other players around him, I would not. I don't think it would have gone great.
He completed 60.3% of his passes as well.
His adjusted completion percentage was less than Brock Vandegrift's, which is it accounts for drops and throwaways. And if you count for drops and throwaways, he was worse than Brock.
But then when you look at the stats and he 2x'd everything else.
It's interesting. His average depth of target was also less than Brock Vandegrift's.
I read something on that, and that was I heard that some of the thing. So I read an article, and Roland put it out, and Roland basically was talking about that there was play calling things that didn't necessarily operate to optimally bring all of his strengths out, and some of that was throwing behind the line of scrimmage, screens, try and catch and move. Said a lot of it was systematic.
Yeah, it's definitely an RPO system.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. I mean, maybe we're not going to run an RPO system.
That's
there's
why,
a lot of questions.
His year of experience at Duke is not the offense he would run it here. It's how it matters for experience, being in the environments and making some of the reads, but it's not the same. It's not the same offense. And he didn't run that offense at Texas either. So it's interesting. Obviously, they are smarter than me at football, but I see some concerns that hopefully they would address to fit the kind of thing they like to run. But obviously, he's he's really good. he's better than what we had, so which is what you want.
Yeah, it's.
I would have thought they would have gone more mobile. Or more accurate.
Okay, so if we look at the guys in the portal right now.
Well, the problem is the QB portal is not the best. The problem is going to the portal for QB is a very hard thing to do. If you're not,
I like that. Well,
Oregon, Ohio State, LSU.
Let me look. Let's go to this. Let's see who's because you've got you've got Mateer who's in the portal. He's the number one transfer quarterback. If somehow Kentucky was in on him, I think Mateer's the home run.
Throw all the bag. I mean, Mateer, I would be putting us in the playoffs if we had Mateer.
Home run of home runs. All right. You've also got Fernando Mendoza. He's highly rated. I'm very suspect on him. I just am. I don't know. I don't know if I like him.
He's almost the opposite of Murphy for me. He's like not that good, but a scheme fit, and Murphy's like good, but not a scheme fit. So I guess it depends on what kind of changes you believe the player can make, but like that's how I kind of think of it in my mind.
After that, so you've got Air Noland, who just went in the portal, inexperienced. You've got Caden Salter, who probably you would think would fit what Bush wants to run because he's fast as lightning. He's kind of a gunslinger, has a few accuracy issues, but I think there's a really good player in there. I think there's a really good player in there. The thing is now like with guys going out, right? Like Edwards committed to Wisconsin. That was a guy I know some people mentioned. I've seen other people report Calzada. I have not heard Calzada with any of the people we talk to. Again, I'm not, I've said this 100 times. I'm not saying anyone's lying, anyone's making it up. I'm not talking shit about anybody. I haven't heard that. So people, like the people that I've asked, said that they haven't heard that name. We don't know everybody, obviously, and I'm not claiming to know that. I'm just giving you what we've heard. I think it would make sense if you strike out on Murphy, if you strike out on Salter, if you strike out, I don't even want to say Mateer because I have no clue what's going on. Like, I know some people have said we'd be interested. Who wouldn't be interested? I think everybody's interested in him. But he did come in with a no contact clause, so we're either on the list or we're not, right? So let's just throw Mateer out and say he's not realistic. If that all happened, I think then they look at someone like a Calzada is like a in case of emergency break glass. I just don't see anybody out there. I mean, maybe Mendoza. I don't know if Mendoza what he would cost. I think you would look at him potentially, but then I think it gets a little bit more dicey. There, you want to know who I actually am surprised they didn't look at?
Who's that?
Matthew Sluka. I am a little surprised. I thought that he might be a guy they look at because he's kind of got a little bit of a dog in him. I know all the stuff that happened with UNLV. Maybe that I haven't heard his name mentioned a lot. Maybe that's a thing. Maybe there's a thing there.
I think when you're trying to fix culture problems, bringing a guy like that in to start your team would not be a good sell for the fans.
I haven't heard a lot about him either, right?
I haven't either. I think people are kind of staying away. I think people are scared to put $1 million into him to be your starting quarterback when he could disappear on you.
I agree. I don't like you get down into it and you start to look. I don't see a ton of guys that I think maybe,
getting quarterback transfers are hard.
Yeah,
there's not a lot of good ones.
I don't see it. I mean, look, there's some good players in there. I just don't know if there's the right player for what Kentucky wants.
They need a 1-year guy. They don't need like a young developmental type of guy.
Yeah, you need to go get a guy. Like, I'm okay. Like, Murphy's about as young as I'd go, but Murphy I'm okay with because he has 14 starts, right? The guy's played a lot of football. I'm okay with that. Salter has a ton of experience, right? After that, like, a lot of the guys in the portal are young, unproven. Like, I mean, if you went out and got Air Noland, you're basically telling Cutter Boley you have no future here.
Yeah, pretty much. You'd be telling.
And I don't think they're going to do that.
No,
I don't think they're going to do that. I think they believe that the QB1 is on the roster for 2026, 2027, 2028. It's Cutter Boley or Stone Saunders. Like that. Those are the guys. I think
that's the plan, at least.
That's the plan. All right. Who we talk? Is that it? Yeah. Okay. I think that I'm trying to.
We haven't talked about either the defensive transfers.
Oh, Landon Watkins. Yes. Landon Watson. Yes.
You keep yelling him Watkins.
I keep doing Watkins.
That's about the fourth time for y'all. Y'all are in our text,
Landon
he's called
Watson,
Watkins.
Transfer from Marshall. I like him. Big physical line. He's basically kind of like a reincarnation size wise of D-Jack.
Yeah, he's a big old boy at inside linebacker.
6'1", 240. That's a big boy.
Yeah, he's a runs fitter. He is, he fits the gaps really well, stops runs really well, disengages from blocks well. He gets in good spots in pass plays, but he's not always the most effective actually making the play. They take him off the field a lot when it's like passing downs. But as a
Yeah, but
guy
we
that's
took
a
D-Jack off
run
the field a lot
fitter,
too.
yeah, but as a guy that's a run fitter and things like that, like he's if you're looking at it, they obviously wanted run defense because him and Sam Green both are run stoppers first.
Sam Green also has a lot of dog in him too. He started really playing well. I mean, he's a redshirt freshman. He's got good size. He's a little small. He's not as big. He's not like 6'4", 6'5". He's 6'1", 6'2". But he's got good athleticism, good burst. I think he's going to really help get off or help put pressure on the quarterback. He's also a guy I think that they can put off the line as well, right? Like he's kind of that hybrid style that Kentucky likes. You saw JJ Weaver, who was a little smaller, played a lot more off the line. I think this guy's kind of in that mold, not as big as JJ. JJ was a big boy. He's like 6'5". This guy's a little different in terms of height, but I think there's a lot of potential there from that perspective. Obviously, you have Devin Rayner. They're real high on him. If Rayner comes in at 240 this year, I'm scared because he is, and I've said this 100 times. If you've not seen Devin Rayner in person, he was one of the most impressive looking dudes on the team, and he played
He's
really
the kind
well.
of guy that gets off the bus early.
He was had a 92 PFF grade in like the games he played. He was really good. He just needs to put on more weight, and you knew that, right? And you're also playing behind D-Jack, and you're playing behind Pop. He's inside the track to start. I wouldn't mind bringing in another linebacker. You need it for depth. Linebackers. I would like
They've
one
lost
more.
a lot of linebackers.
I would like one more
that they thought they would have for this season.
I would like on defense. On defense, I would like another linebacker, another edge, and an interior lineman. I think if you get that, you're there. Now, you start to get in. So, if Kentucky hits home runs, let's say they get Murphy, let's say they get Kendrick Law, let's say they get
Fields and Hardy,
Fields,
and Hansen. Let's say they get what we thought.
Let's just say they run the gauntlet, even if it's not Hardy. If they Hardy or another guy that they're really wanting, right?
I'm just putting names like that. We only have a couple running back names, so
sure,
I'm putting the guy that's really good.
Let's say they run the gauntlet there, and then they go and they hit the guys they want. There's still going to be guys in the portal. Now you're looking at this is where things from a Kentucky standpoint. And I know some people aren't excited about the football. I get it. We went 4-8. I get it. I think that's where that happens. And then if they were to go out and get a guy or two, that's now. I think Kentucky, if they do that offensively, they're in good shape. They're in good shape. I like our offense. I know listen. There's going to be concerns about any quarterback we bring in, right? Mateer would probably be the only guy you'd be like home run, send it out. We've got the best guy that there is. He is he would be the only guy I think would be for now. He's the only guy that if Kentucky got him, he'd be the guy that you would go, this is a flawless pick. I think Murphy, if I was going to grade it, I would grade, if it happened, I would grade Mateer at 100%. I would grade Murphy at a 94.5. They're close, but there's more. What in the world are you doing?
It's like a stress ball. I was like, just squish. I don't know. It was in front of me, so I just started.
But then I think you really look at then I think the defense could potentially be an interesting thing because there's some dudes out there, and you start to load up on the defensive side of the ball of like, all right, we got it. We got dudes. We're gonna score points. Do they load up? And I think that's the part that gets real interesting of Kentucky really. I don't think there's going to be a lot more on offense once they go 2 wide receivers, running back, quarterback, tackle, right? And center, but we think we know who the center is. I think that's it on offense. I don't know if you'd see anybody else. Defense, you could see them adding back for depth, but I think you could see them adding 2 more edges, a linebacker, a corner, a safety, if the right guy was
I was gonna add, if they want to go all in, if they're gonna make the push on offense with all the players they're getting, it feels like they're all in, right? They're going with a bunch of 1-year guys that are really good. If they want to go all in, I would like another quarter and another safety, both starters. If they want to be a playoff team, if they want to go all in, they could get better at those positions.
I like where we're at with corner, though. I like Nichols. I like DJ Waller. My concern with Waller is, can he stay healthy?
It's just none of them are great. Like, if they need a guy. They're all good.
I know where they can get a guy.
This is if they want to go all in. If they want to be good, if they want to be competitive, they're good.
Question. Before they do that, do they go to Maxwell Harrison and say, buddy, you're a 4th round pick now. We got a bag for you to come back. He's not announced yet, which I find interesting. I'm not saying he's coming back. I don't have any this is pure fan speculation. No knowledge of this. None. And I've asked, and I can't get an answer. I will just tell you this. Yeah. Do you go get somebody else if he comes back? I say no. But if he comes back, I really like.
Just go get somebody else.
Man, healthy Maxwell Harrison though is dangerous, especially if you got a line that can locker room. Huh?
They're trying to fix the locker room though.
I don't know. I have nothing. I don't know anything about where Max was in the locker room situation. But here's the thing: you could have a guy like Max with all the other guys you're bringing in. If Max is the problem, I don't know. I've met him once. He seems like a really nice guy. I have no clue. None of that I know. Maybe not. Maybe he doesn't come back and we're having this conversation. But it would be very interesting if he did, is all I'm saying. I like where we're at with safety. I like Ty Bryant. I'm very curious to see if Alex Safari moves back into a safety type role. Look, Alex Safari.
I really hope he does. I really hope he goes to that nickel.
I want Alex Safari to play Zion Childers' role on that. Yes. I think he could be. I love Zion. Like, that kid played like a bulldog. And I think if you're looking for a dude that's going to basically slot in, that is Alex Safari.
Yeah, I would. I mean, it would make sense for Safari. I mean, I don't know if he's going to be great at that position, right? But like, it makes sense. Like, the traits him and Zion have are pretty similar. As far as how they play and stuff.
Reads the run really well. Gets behind the line, can tackle for loss, not afraid to take on a linebacker.
He needs to be out of the box most of the time. You know what I mean? Like, he needs to not be the middle linebacker. He needs to not be playing, he needs to not be in the middle of the defense. He needs to be making plays on the edge and things like that, which nickel would give him much more of an ability to do. And he can blitz a lot more, which he's one of the
best. He's one of the best tackling guys we have. He's aggressive and he reads plays really well. Like, he didn't play a lot at linebacker and he had one of the highest TFLs on the team because when he got in, he made plays, right? Like, he just didn't know how to read everything from the linebacker position. I think if that's the route they go, no knowledge of it. If it is, I think they have a guy like Zion, but bigger, faster, more athletic.
Yeah, I mean, it would be exciting. I wouldn't think that nickel was a problem. I wouldn't think they would need to go get one if they move him back. So I'm with you. I would like to move.
Yeah, I would like to move.
I think one thing I know with Watson and Sam Green both being run stoppers first, it makes me wonder if they're worried about the interior run stopping. If they don't know if they're like, because there's only a couple defensive tackles in the portal, and everyone's going to want defensive tackles. The boys are.
Can I give you my thought on that? Can I give you my thought there? I think it's the aspect that Kentucky has. I think it's the aspect that Kentucky also realizes that they have to have guys that can do both. And Watson was a natural run stopping linebacker, and we needed that, right? He also had 4.5 sacks, I believe. So he can also get to the quarterback, right? Like, he's a little faster than
when he's in on pass sets. He blitzes a lot.
Yeah, he's a little quicker than D-Jack. I think he's a little faster. Mm-hmm. But also, I think it's the aspect of just overall size and physicality. Yes, you got to pressure the quarterback, but you also have to be able. Like, Kentucky did certain things really well, and then it didn't, right? It also had to do with injuries. I've said this a lot. I like Saunders. I like Gilbert. I like Hayes. I think those are 3 really good interior guys, but you need more than 3, right? You need another one. You need to go find. You need a big boy. I mean, listen, Hayes is a big boy. Saunders is a big boy. Gilbert's a big boy. Gilbert's going to be a bigger boy next year too. I think they need to go get one more guy there.
They need a real fat guy. They need a nose tackle.
Yeah,
real
you need a
fast.
6'6", 6'8", 350 dude that just eats space.
They need a big guy,
Big
a
boy.
Texas guy.
I also think, look, you also got Darian Henry Young that's coming back. He was injured. He was a
He's a pass
4-star
rusher, though,
guy.
like pure pass rusher.
Yeah, but he's got a lot of size to him. He's a guy that has size. He's like 6'4", 6'5", I think 230, 240. He's a big boy. He's got size. That's where I like some of these guys. The Sam Houston State guy that they're looking at, the Jacksonville State guy they're looking at. Some hybrid guys can get on the line, rush the passer, can stop the run. Right. I think the thing you're seeing with Kentucky is speed and physicality on defense. And I think you're seeing size and explosiveness on offense, right? There looks like there's the people that want to knock Stoops and all this, there looks like there's a plan.
Good. Elliot said, "What if the nose tackles from the South?" Good.
What does that mean?
I don't really know, but players from the South are better.
Listen, there's a lot. Hey, listen, there's a big boy that just left Texas. There's a big boy that just left Texas. I have no information on if we're in on him, but that would be interesting. There looks like there's a plan here, and they're doing really well. Like there's momentum for Kentucky in the portal. It all like the whole aspect of this, and I laughed. We laughed at this. We said this in a group chat, right? We'll strike out on everybody. We'll bring in Calzada. The fan base will be pissed. He'll throw for 4,000 yards, 40 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and we'll go to the playoffs.
Yep.
Right. That never happens. My teams are never that lucky. But I think it all comes down to quarterback. If they land the guy, I like our chances not to suck.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if you don't have a good quarterback, it's really hard to be good.
Especially
so they got to hit.
Football.
They got to hit on
and
quarterback.
line.
Yeah, they got to hit on quarterback, and that's something they.
If they get the guys we get, let's just say Murphy's the guy. If they get him and the line, do you think Kentucky averages over 35 a game next year?
I would say no, because I think the schedule's hard, but I think they'd get back to 30, which is about like the 2021 range with Levis and Cohen and them. I don't know if they'd get up to 35. I mean, we're going to play a couple like crazy defenses. Like they're going to have a couple bad games in there. But I would be encouraged. It will be. I'm already.
Let me rephrase that.
They could roll it out now and probably be a better offense than last year.
Let me rephrase that. Yeah, I agree. Would this be an offense that you would think every single game we play, we have a chance to win because they can score points?
Yeah. Yeah. If they get the guys, a running back, Murphy, 2 receivers, tackle.
With the guys we've got,
I would say our offense is not a weakness. We are, on paper, we would be I would feel confident in our offense being able to make the playoffs.
So you would think if we land the guys we have, Kentucky could win any game on the schedule. Not will, but could.
Depending on what Texas, if Arch is the Heisman, then we're probably not going to beat Texas. Or if Georgia,
I'm not saying we will. Hang on, not will, could.
Oh yeah, they could beat anybody.
Do you think that you would play a game or a lot of games like this year where you're just praying you score some points, luckily, and the defense plays an A+ game, or do you think you're back into we can play with anyone style of football?
On paper, I would say play with anyone. They could score with anyone with that team. Just because, I mean, obviously, transfer teams don't always have the most success, and they're going to be a transfer team for a year.
On the offense, especially on offense, they're going to be a transfer team. Defense, they're going to have guys, but the cultural workings of that, I don't think is going to change.
Yeah, and sometimes it works though. Like we see transfer quarterbacks will go places with a receiver, or they'll bring in a couple of linemen with them. And
look at Miami. Miami might be 7-5 without Cam Ward.
Oregon does it sometimes. Like they bring they fill in the big positions with the guys that they miss in recruiting. Like it's possible, it happens.
I'm not saying we're going to be a playoff team. That's not what I'm saying. That's a conversation for week 8 next year when we're 7-1.
I'm saying I wouldn't be out. Like it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility. Like I wouldn't say it's impossible if they. I
would also feel more confident knowing. Again, just saying it's Murphy. going into every game that there's a guy that's played in games like that, right? He's seen defense. He's been there. He's done
He played in
that.
the Big 12 championship, so he's
he's a kid. He's a kid that gets it, right? Like I would not be worried about that. I think that there's and look, if he jumps, the other thing I think is exciting there with Brock, right? It was kind of you were excited about potential. He come from Georgia, right? He's a 5-star, right? All blah blah blah. Malik Murphy's a 5. I think he was a 5-star kid. I don't 100% know.
Or high 4. He was at Texas, so I mean, oh gosh, is it me that's disappeared or Paul? Oh no, he's moving again.
No, I'm here. Anyway, that's what I'm. If he makes the jump, though, that's where I think it's really exciting. Like what you're getting production wise. If he just does what he does last year, where we've improved significantly. No. But if he jumps, when's the last time we had a guy throw 30+ touchdown passes? Did Levis even get there?
I don't ever since Couch Lorenzen.
No. Woodson threw 40, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Woodson, whatever. I mean,
I think he might be the last guy to throw over 30.
I can't imagine.
Actually, I don't know. Did Hartline hit 30?
Maybe, but that would be 30's a lot. Not a lot of quarterbacks throw 30 touchdowns.
Mike Hartline was low-key an underrated quarterback for Kentucky. I'm not gonna lie. He threw 23. That was his top.
Son of a gun. We almost got that. We haven't had a 3,000-yard passer in 11,000 years too either.
All right, let's see. Andre Woodson, his junior year went for 3,515 yards, 31 touchdowns. His senior year went for 3,709 and 40 touchdowns.
Heisman.
Bro, that man was listen, I'm going to tell you what. If Kentucky would have won a couple more games, he probably would have won the Heisman.
I'm going to figure out who won
he started the year, his junior year. Huh?
What season was it?
That was 06-07. I think Tebow won in 07. Tebow won in 07. 06, we kind of came on late in the season. So
Troy Smith, 2,500 yards, 30 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. What a robbery!
Yeah, but what about on the ground?
Well, don't ruin my.
I think Troy Smith also had a ton of running touchdowns. Like I think he rushed for a lot of yards too.
There was no reason to ruin my 200 rushing yards and a touchdown. The year before, he had 6, 11, and 11 touchdowns on the ground.
Okay, well, that might have been a
robbery.
And then in 07, like here's the thing: Kentucky was 7-5, 7-5. If Kentucky would have went 10-2, I think he might have had a shot in his senior year.
The real robbery was Darren McFadden. McFadden was second. That's the robbery.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was. Darren McFadden was an absolute beast.
There's some names on here: Brady Quinn, Colt Brennan, Ray Rice.
Brady Quinn, Johnson. I think, is one of the most overrated college quarterbacks ever to play.
3,400 yards, 37 touchdowns, 7 interceptions.
They didn't play anybody.
Nobody does.
I mean, that's not
everybody's
entirely true. But anyway, I like where Kentucky's at. I don't know if we're going to get a commitment. I hope we get a commitment from Malik Murphy tomorrow or Wednesday. I would love it because my anxiety is starting to get a little high on the quarterback position. Unless something comes out that tomorrow that someone like a Mateer is visiting, I kind of want to wrap it up because I think once that happens, I think the wide receiver. Here's the thing. Guys are going to want to come play for him, like wide receivers, because he can throw dots.
The dominoes fall with quarterback, right? Everyone is waiting to see what all the quarterbacks do. Everyone in the entire portal is kind of sitting and waiting for what the quarterbacks do. Mateer is I'm waiting for Mateer to go. When Mateer goes, everyone starts falling in line down the tier list, right? So I'm kind of waiting for once Mateer goes, everyone will follow Mateer, and then once Mateer goes, Murphy will go, and everyone will follow Murphy that wants to. So I'm waiting for the domino. Sometimes they go out of order, but quarterbacks love to do to the best option they have. They like to just go straight down the list. So
yeah, it's gonna be very interesting and very excited. I'm excited where Kentucky's going. I really like where the transfer portal is going. I think that they've got a lot of guys still in the works that they can bring in. I like where they're going with everything. It's all about quarterback. And if they get it, I think there's a lot of people who are going to be like, all right, maybe we're going to get excited one more time. Like the thing is too, look, there's a lot of pressure on Stoops this season, right? There is a lot of pressure on Stoops because he's got the money. I'm going to fix my microphone real quick. He's got the money. He's got the backing from that perspective. If he gets the players, which right now we're trending that way. Listen, but a lot can happen, right? Still young guys that can change their mind real fast. So that could still happen. I hope it doesn't, but it could. It's a prove it year, right? Like I think people give him one more year. If we don't win with that roster with the guys we pull in this year, I think that's where the questions get answered. But like he had to win. What do we say? He had to win. He had to win the offseason in the portal. And if these guys commit, step one. Then step two is the culture, the discipline, going through spring practice, OTAs. You win that again, step two. Then it's then go beat Ole Miss. That's probably step three. You probably I think yeah, I mean, look, I think that's the thing. I think if you come out and start 2-0, if you beat Ole Miss at home, I think they'll have a big crowd. I think, I'm not saying Toledo's a slouch. You should beat Toledo with this team. You beat Toledo. You Ole Miss is going to be high. I think that Ole Miss game is the game, right? If they win,
we're back.
It's all excitement.
We were back
all hands go.
We were back this
year. Even if we lose and Ole Miss is like top 5, but we lose like 31-28 or something, I think there's optimism that the season could still be okay. But I think you look at that Ole Miss game as the game that you kind of see where that, God forbid, Kentucky goes out and kicks their ass. Then it's a whole different realm of just unrealisticness.
We have an early bye in week 4, right? We'd get like 2 whole weeks to sit on it. And
God, I don't even want to talk about that. I don't even. And then you got like Texas and Tennessee coming in, right?
Yes, it's Texas. Right.
I don't know. I'm my Tennessee is one of those teams this year that it's just like good enough that they don't lose, and it doesn't make sense.
They can run the ball. When you can run the ball that good, you beat all. You pretty much don't get it's hard to upset teams.
Tennessee is a fine example of a great offensive line. You can run the ball. You got a guy who can throw the ball good enough with some explosive plays and a defense that kicks you in the ass, and you can win. Right? They are a thing, and I think Kentucky can do that. Right? Like they don't flash you, they don't wow you. They're just efficient. Right? They are methodically efficient. They're not what Hendon Hooker, Tennessee, but they're an efficient offense, and that's the biggest thing. Like they don't wow you. I don't think they wow you very much on offense. They just are very efficient.
They are bullies. They are so mean to you. Those offensive linemen are so freaking
for 3 quarters on, and Kentucky's defense bullied them for 3 quarters. That's what makes you want to just punch a wall.
Yeah, and then they fell apart.
We didn't fall apart. Yeah. We lost by 10, but it was a 3-point game midway through the 4th. We didn't fall apart.
The run defense fell apart, but
you can't be on the field that much. That's my difference and your difference on how the end of the season went with Texas and Tennessee is that to me was a defense that didn't have legs. Like you could play for 3 quarters, but then you just were on the field too much.
They gave up career high in rushing yards in 4 or 5 games at one point this season.
Yeah, but they were on the field too much. Like you can't.
They weren't on the field career high amount. Like it wasn't
Auburn.
The most carries
They were on the field every 3 plays.
Yeah, but Auburn has played other teams that allowed them to run that many times.
But Auburn didn't get like 9 straight 3-and-outs. What do we get? Like 1 first down in the second half?
I don't know. It was bad, really bad.
It was bad, and we couldn't kick the field goal, couldn't score on the 1-yard line. Oh, that was also Vandy. But like, that's where I'm saying like the offense really leaned into the defense not playing well at the end of the season. You got to have a balance, right? You can't have the defense. You got to have a defense that can go win you games. Because it's going to happen. Even if we have an explosive offense, you're going to have a defense that's going to have to come up big. But you can do that in a couple games. You just can't rely on, like, we relied on them so much. By the time we got to Auburn, by the time we got to Texas and Tennessee, I mean, they were gassed. I mean, I don't put the bad season on the defense. We didn't score over 20 points. So there you go.
They were not the biggest problem, but I'm not letting them get away with this, with this tomfoolery.
It's not
With
tomfoolery,
quitting.
man.
I mean, some of them quit.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. I mean, but it was so bad on offense. But all right, so yeah, so look, a lot of positive momentum. See what happens.
They have a plan. It looks like everything looks like it's connected, which is what I wanted to see in the offseason, because the last couple that has looked like they've gone and got good players, but it didn't look like it connected. And now this looks like everyone is being brought in to play like with each other. They went and got athletic guys so that Hardy can run a zone, like so they can get a zone running back and run zone and pass block for Malik Murphy, who just wants to sit in the pocket. Like they're going to go get Macklin was a deep threat at North Texas, even though we didn't see it a ton. Like, we saw it like once a game at the end of the year, but like he was a deep threat at North Texas. If they go get a Kendrick Law that's super fast, who ran mostly underneath stuff and go routes, like they can, get a 6'4" receiver, they can throw it up to. Like all these things look like they fit each other, which is the most important thing that I'm seeing so far. Is it looks like they're actually doing their homework like they said they were going to. And that is the encouraging part.
Look, and we've been telling people, the trolls who say we don't know anything. We've been telling people that there's a whole new system in place on the back end. Kentucky's got more money. They've got a better system in the back. They're more prepared for this. Like, don't be surprised if we have a good team come in the portal. You're starting it now. Look, we're not there yet, but at least you see the plan, the motion, and the players with potential that could get us there. Still got to close the deal. That's the end of it, right? You don't do it, doesn't matter what all the other shit is. But we're close. We're close to being where we have a very competitive football team. And look, here's the thing. Stoops saying, "Don't worry, we're gonna have a good football team" at the end of that press conference, right? That is either going to be that is going to be haunting, or it is going to be shoved in people's faces on loops next year. There's no middle ground there, right? People are either going to shove it at people that said a lot of stuff, the people that didn't talk, and it's going to go right at them, or it's going to go the reverse, right? One of those two things are going to happen.
He would not have. It was very calculated. Like it was like after like everyone had stopped and they were like, "Oh, we're good," and he like moved and then like sat down. Was like, "This I wanted to get this message out. Like we're gonna be better." And I was like, "Okay, well you better be better." And so far they're getting better. They got a lot better today specifically. I mean, Braun and Wolfschlager are both.
I'm getting very, very optimistic that we might actually have a football team that could be fun to watch next season. It all comes down to quarterback now. There's
a chance. I mean, they're definitely going to sucker me in. 100% they are.
Yeah, I mean, but like, here's the thing. By the time it comes around, right, we're gonna be excited because we love football and we don't want to be bad, and we're gonna talk ourselves in. But hopefully, it's because that we have a really good team and a lot of players that can make a big difference. So, it's gonna be a lot of football talk this week because there's no basketball until Saturday, and then it's gonna be an interesting game because Saturday we're gonna be able to really look. All right, here's an interesting thing. I'm gonna tell you this right now. Very interesting. Very, very, very interesting.
A touch of scoopage. Scooper Scuttlebug.
Missouri transfer true freshman running back Kawan Lacey has committed to Ole Miss.
This is good things. This would be, I mean, just give them all of the running back commits. He is young though. Did he?
It doesn't matter. So is Hardy. If you're Hardy, are you going to a guy that just had?
I forgot that Hardy was a freaking sophomore.
He was the 7th ranked running back. Like I
forgot Hardy was a sophomore because he's so freaking good.
Listen, to me, if you're a Kentucky fan and you want Hardy, that is good news.
Like I tweeted out when the Wake Forest coach stepped down, I tweeted out like, file this under potentially bad news, file Lacey committing to Ole Miss under potentially good news. This is where you start. This is the tea leaf situation, right? When other people started, they got the running back commit. Now, what we don't need is Hardy tomorrow to announce he's going to like Florida State or something. Like, yeah, Kendrick Law will be. I mean, he is. You want to talk about fast? Oh my goodness! I think they said he got up to like 23.5 miles an hour or something. in practice one time. Like he can fly. Bama never used him a ton, to be honest. It was mostly like they put him in the backfield a lot, kind of like what they tried to do with Berrien. He's not dissimilar from Berrien, but they got pretty creative with getting him out of the backfield, getting him in the flat and stuff, like using him in play action, and then obviously with speed, the go routes and the deep overs and things like that. But with a guy like Murphy, if you get Murphy, nobody throws it farther than him. So if you have a guy that you can just throw it up and run under, that's a super valuable piece. Plus, with Gilmore, Macklin, and whatever X receiver they get, they don't need Law to play every snap. They can put them in when they need to get to specific actions or try to take a shot or things like that.
That is a very, very interesting thing, by the way. I'm just the Hardy that's very interesting. True Blue podcast said I think Kendrick Law could be a huge pickup. 100% agree. I mean, I also comes from a winning culture, right? Like we need culture guys. I'm excited about that news. I mean, maybe it's nothing, maybe it's something, but you got to think that you got to think if you're Ole Miss, if you're Hardy, you got to think that Ole Miss maybe doesn't take a guy like that if you're going to get that. Now, I don't know if they've got anybody else. But that's interesting.
I mean, it's Ole Miss running back. I'm sure they have somebody. Ole Miss, if Lane Kiffin can do nothing else, he can pick out good running backs. That's for sure. So if you just go offer the same running backs that Lane Kiffin offers, you end up in a pretty good spot, I'd say. Maybe that's what you should do. I'm gonna become a head football coach so that I can copy the offers of the positions that I think people are good at. I'm gonna offer all the people that Lane Kiffin offer at running back. I'm gonna offer all of the Texas maybe quarterbacks. I'm gonna go after all the people that I know the good scouts go after. I don't even need a whole scouting department. I could pay so much money in NIL by not having assistant coaches or recruiting coordinator or anything. I think I figured it out.
It's crazy. All right. Well, we'll pay attention to that. We'll be back tomorrow with another show. If something crazy happens tonight, we'll do a space. I don't think anything's gonna happen. This has been a really good fun conversation. And maybe Ahmad Hardy is something to watch.
I want him. He's really good. He had more. I mean, we said literally last week.
He had more after contact yards.
We said we wanted Cam Scatterbo. He had more broken tackles than Cam Scatterbo.
He had the second most tackles after contact than Genty. He was right behind Genty.
Genty, Hardy, Scatterbo, and you want to be in a conversation with good running backs, get with Genty, who might be the best prospect since Saquon.
The podcast also said, want to thank you all for informing everyone so quickly on all the transfer visits and so forth. Appreciate it, man. Thank you for the kind words. There's 800 people watching. If you don't mind, there is a Twitter account out there right now that says Bleed B Network with 2 T's that said that Malik Murphy committed. It's a fake account. They took our name, trying to spread false information to try and get people pissed at us for reporting things that we didn't do. So if you don't mind to go report them for impersonation and block them, that would be great, because for some reason, a gazillion people have viewed that tweet, and it's just irritating that people have time on their hands, but we don't want false information going around. He is not committed. Hope he does. Hope he does. Hopefully we can put something out that is true when the time comes, but it is not. Unless you see the blue check mark there, it is not us, so don't fall for it. Also, unless you see it announced from our profile, nobody has joined our team, even though some of these idiots like to say it and clown and be idiots and then spread more false information. People are dumb. Twitter's a wild place. But
if you're already on Twitter, go ahead and give the Blue account a follow too.
Yeah, and if you're not on Twitter, give us an account. Give us the real one. It's at Bleed B Network. Anything else that's not at Bleed B Network, not misspelled with 2 O's or 2 T's or whatever, it's got the blue check mark. You'll see it. We also follow back a lot of those accounts too, as much as we can. Getting a lot of followers last 2 days, so I'm trying to keep up with that. But appreciate you guys all watching, listening wherever you are. Appreciate the engagement in the chat. We will be back tomorrow, and anything that comes across the line tonight, we will update on Twitter if we can. Appreciate it. Have a good one, guys.
Go Cats.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of the Bleed Blue Network podcast. We hope you enjoyed diving deep into the world of Kentucky sports with us. Don't forget to stay connected by following us on Twitter at BleedBNation. Your feedback means the world to us. So take a moment to leave a review. Not only does it help us improve, but it also helps others discover the show. Until next time, keep cheering, keep listening, and keep bleeding blue.